Sam Dawson is a single father with the intellectual capacity of a 7-year-old. He is raising a newborn daughter alone, navigating the complex mechanics of infancy with the mind of a second grader. Sam manages this through sheer hyper-organized repetition. He measures formula and folds diapers with absolute precision, turning routine into a lifeline. His exactness bridges the gap between his developmental limitations and his daughter's immediate needs. To navigate his life, Sam relies heavily on the music of the Beatles. Their lyrics provide him a philosophical framework to understand a complex world. This obsession runs so deep that he names his daughter Lucy, drawn directly from the song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. He doesn't do this entirely alone. Sam is flanked by a unique support network. His agoraphobic neighbor, Annie, plays piano for Lucy and teaches her about the outside world from inside her apartment, while his tight-knit group of friends share advice and movie nights. They survive through community. As Lucy grows, the dynamic shifts. When she turns 7, she hits a profound developmental milestone. She realizes she is beginning to surpass her father intellectually. To protect him, she consciously stops reading new words. She holds herself back to keep their worlds aligned. Their isolated bubble begins to crack. Society tracks human development through strict upward intellectual milestones. A child actively stunting her own education immediately triggers alarms within that system. The situation escalates through a series of misunderstandings. Sam is approached by a sex worker while waiting for a bus, leading to his arrest. Shortly after, a chaotic surprise birthday party for Lucy draws the attention of the police and social workers. The state applies a clinical decree. They look at Sam's test scores, determine his intellectual capacity, and rule him unfit to raise a child. The legal framework strips away all emotional context, relying entirely on standardized metrics of parental capability. Lucy is physically removed from Sam's care. They are pulled apart in a sterile observation room, fighting against the officers and social workers. The process inflicts raw trauma on both of them. A deeply attached family is dismantled. The state possesses the tools to measure reading comprehension and logistical planning, but it lacks any metric to quantify emotional devotion. Enter Rita Harrison, a high-powered, high-priced attorney. She agrees to take Sam's case entirely out of vanity. Stung by colleagues who claim she only cares about money, she accepts the case pro bono, meaning she takes it without charging a fee, simply to prove a point. On paper, Rita is the model of capability. She is wealthy, educated, and legally flawless. In reality, she is erratic, running on empty calories and anxiety, and entirely disconnected from her own son. The ensuing courtroom battle frames a stark contrast. The prosecution argues a strict, clinical definition of intellect as the sole qualifier for parenting, while Sam and his witnesses present raw, unvarnished emotional truth. Working with Sam forces Rita to confront her own life. His direct, filterless observations about her stress and her relationship with her son begin to dismantle her carefully constructed walls, exposing her profound emotional blind spots. While Sam fights for his parental rights, he becomes the one person who can reach Rita's son. The man the state labels unfit ends up teaching the perfect mother how to actually connect with a child. In the courtroom, the prosecution uses a brutal cross-examination tactic. They pepper Sam with complex questions, exploiting his developmental limitations until he breaks. They successfully destroy his confidence on the stand. The legal outcome is devastating. The state wins the case. Sam loses custody entirely, and Lucy is placed into the foster care of a woman named Randy. Sam suffers a psychological collapse. He retreats into his apartment and begins folding hundreds of newspaper pages into origami, interlocking them to build a literal wall of paper across his living room, hiding himself from the world. Lucy mounts her own rebellion against the court's decree. Night after night, she climbs out of her foster home window. She navigates miles of the dark, sprawling Los Angeles cityscape on foot and by bus, determined to get back to her father's apartment. The system attempts to enforce a strict boundary, but human attachment overrides it. A judge can sever legal rights on paper, but a court order cannot sever a psychological bond. Randy, the foster mother, watches Lucy continually reject her to seek out Sam. She witnesses the sheer gravity of their bond and realizes that no amount of stability or resources will allow her to replace him. Randy makes a critical decision. Instead of fighting Sam or calling the authorities when Lucy runs away, she brings the sleeping child back to him. She chooses to add herself to his support network rather than substitute his role. The resolution arrives at Lucy's soccer game. Sam is coaching, his friends are cheering in the stands, and Randy and her husband are managing the sidelines. It is an unconventional, unified family structure surrounding the child. True parental capability is rarely a solitary intellectual sport. It functions best as a communal effort, anchored by unconditional love and shared responsibility. Outside the fictional story, the film's legacy is defined by its massive commercial success and a persistent, often uncomfortable debate about how Hollywood handles disability. There is a distinct tension in how the movie is viewed today. It receives praise for bringing the rights of parents with intellectual disabilities into the mainstream dialogue, but faces criticism for its heavy reliance on melodrama. The representation itself is highly scrutinized. In a retrospective interview, the film's director admitted that casting an actor without a disability for the lead role is a practice she would not repeat in today's filmmaking landscape. Sam's story forces a confrontation with the metrics we use to judge human worth. It argues that a parent's value isn't located in an IQ score, but in the capacity to be present.